Don't skip a thing because we're going to cover the most comprehensive Legend of Slime tier list you will ever see. Trust me, if you skip to the end of this video, you won't understand a thing on this tier list. So I do recommend you pay attention. There have been so many new slimes, meaning it's that time again to make a new updated tier list. This way you have a solid understanding of which slimes reign supreme, and which slimes you should definitely be avoiding. This tier list considers both pay-to-win and free-to-play players, and I really want you to note that this tier list not only focuses on damage, but utility as well. This means we consider Slime Legion, staging, free-to-play survivability, and even the secret undead dungeon room. So you should pay attention to avoid any confusion, that way you'll fully understand each slime's ranking. Before we continue, I want to share a collaboration we're having with an awesome idle game known as Eternal Evolution. If you enjoy an action-packed sci-fi strategy-based mobile idle RPG, then this is the game for you. You can put together your own team of select heroes and push through endless battlefields of monsters. This is all while evolving your heroes to become the strongest. Strategy plays a big part in this game, which is one of my favorite elements about it. They have an amazing collaboration event going on right now with Ghost in the Shell SAC 2045, consisting of new collab heroes, rewards, and challenges you can partake in. There are tons of game modes available, from your classic PvE modes, which are both interactive while letting you play idle with the ability to receive AFK rewards, to your competitive PvP and guild modes, which pit you against players within your server. All these modes allow you to organize your team of heroes, choosing where and how they conduct combat, which makes the gameplay a whole lot more enjoyable. And trust me, it doesn't stop there. In the fight to become the strongest, you can form a guild and fight against other players, making this game jam-packed with tons of battles you can engage in. And let's be honest, nothing beats summoning for a triple S hero that will demolish through all your enemies. Watch as we summon the collab hero Motoko Kusanagi. They look absolutely amazing. The grand ceremony event going on right now guarantees new players the epic triple S hero Ravena, among tons of other rewards, so come join in on the fun. I will be doing a video review of this game very soon, so be sure to check it out when it's linked in the description and comment box below. You should go ahead and click the game link or scan the QR code you see on the screen to jump into the game with me. And don't forget to use our exclusive gift code EESAC2045 for some awesome rewards. Now, this tier list was done with the help of Paha, Andy, and B from the Discord server, which you should definitely join for everything Legend of Slime and channel related. Links are in the comment and description box if you want to join, so come on in and join the fun. Alright, so we have a tier maker open, so you can follow the link here and make your own. That is, if you have different opinions than myself. And again, I do have to reiterate here that this tier list will not strictly be focused on stage boss damage. Legend of Slime currently has a single build meta, so there is only one slime that reigns supreme above all others. This means that most other damage dealing slimes with no utility have no purpose, that being the case for most of our pay-to-win slimes, where you shouldn't really bother purchasing some slimes over others. So placements on this list may shock you. Anyways, let's just jump right into our first slime, Ostion. He will find himself high up on our S tier. Although Ostion has negligible damage capabilities, they have such amazing utility with their slime skill. Ostion's slime skill essentially allows you to effortlessly survive in Slime Legion. Ostion alone makes up the knockback capabilities of essentially every slime on this list, meaning that owning him alone can allow you to survive through Slime Legion with zero issues. That being in the case of survivability, you should however not use them in stage boss battles, for example. With all this said, this leads me to our next slime, Farmer. They will be put onto our A tier for all the same reasons. Farmer currently is the highest damage dealing slime in Slime Legion, if you have the S constellation unlocked, that is, and you don't have Farmer on your team, you are doing something wrong in Slime Legion. As Farmer's ability stacks, he does essentially all of your damage in Slime Legion. No other slime can currently come close to Farmer. This includes pay-to-win slimes in Slime Legion, making him a top tier slime for that reason alone. Unfortunately, due to the stacking nature of his slime skill, it does take a while for him to build up damage, meaning he is not viable for stage boss battles, but he is at the very least great for the slime merge event, but you shouldn't really use him anywhere else aside from Slime Legion, where again he is the main staple. Next up we have Happy, and honestly speaking, they won't be happy for too long once we do rank them. They have a terrible slime skill with no other redeeming qualities. I honestly won't bore you with the details. Their only use is a filler on a Slime Legion team. This is why they find themselves at the very bottom of our tier list, at the unfortunate F ranking spot. And on the topic of the F rank, we have our next Slime Diva, probably the worst SS rank slime in the game. Their slime skill is absolutely useless. Their only value is the own effect bonus that they have. Otherwise, they serve no value at all, and their slime skill is completely outpaced by the invulnerability for other slimes. I feel like Diva should be reworked into something better, because right now she has no uses anywhere else in Legend of Slime. This being the exact reason why she finds herself behind Happy, because she is a slime you need to purchase, where the value she brings is absolutely zero, aside from the own effect bonus each slime has. But on the topic of value, we have our next free-to-play slime. Although their focus isn't on value added through damage, Serpine does provide amazing survivability through her dodge mechanic, this being great for getting a bit of extra damage in stage boss battles and avoiding losing in Slime Legion altogether. But because of the animation of her dodge, we do lose some potential damage due to the animation, meaning if we were concerned with survivability, we're only going to survive a second or two longer generally on stage boss battles. But for Slime Legion, we do definitely get a boost in that respect, which is why Serpine does find herself in our C tier, especially because there are some other options we can take advantage of now. And on the topic of slimes that pose multiple advantages, we have Ghost, a very robust slime. They deal tons of damage in Slime Legion from their slime skill. They absolutely destroy events like Slime Merge, and Ghost is an amazing slime for the Secret Undead Room dungeon due to the multiple attacks Ghost provides from their slime skill, not allowing the crowd to ever become bored, which I know is an issue for many of you out there who are running the dungeon. For these reasons, Ghost will be put into our B tier, because they are otherwise not good for stage boss battles at all. Next up, we're going to do a 5 slime grouping, and I'll explain why. We have Newbie, Ornus, Amber, Santa, and Cabalus. All these slimes fall into the E tier in that exact order. This is because they don't really provide a distinctive value. However, due to the astrology bonus the S constellation provides, our S rank slimes do pose a benefit in Slime Legion, allowing us to deal way more damage than we normally would have, where these slimes do outpace or fall in line with their SS slime counterparts. But that's not enough to really put them in a higher tier, since damage isn't essentially that much of a concern, as survivability is always the main issue. And although Newbie does not benefit from the S constellation, they are still a good slime for the Secret Undead Room dungeon and events like Slime Merge, so they do come out slightly ahead of our other E tier slimes. But for the case of Cabalus, although they are a free SS slime in a sense, they are almost as bad as Diva, having no bonus from the S constellation, meaning they have a very weak slime skill, resulting in Cabalus finding themselves at the bottom of our E tier. And I think we've spent enough time at the bottom. Let's move on to the top and unveil our first SS rank slime. I'm sure this will be no surprise to you, but we have Gent, who is currently the meta-defining slime. This due to their amazing slime skill, causing a 2x damage multiplier on enemies from all sources of damage, since close to 99% of our damage does come from our companions, with the bulk of that coming from the Sparrow figurine egg throw spam that they cause. This makes no slime able to compete with Gent currently, since damage dealing slimes that deal a percentage of companion damage through their slime skills don't even come close to Gent. So unless a new slime ability is introduced, Gent will remain at the top, and this doesn't even consider that his boost applies to Slime Legion as well, on top of having invincibility frames from his slime skill cast, meaning he tanks damage as well. And as well as Gent, Sparrow has a bunch of invincibility frames, making him a prime candidate as a Slime Legion tank. This is on top of him having a knockback and a slime skill that deals tons of damage on par with our other SS slimes. This is exactly why we put him next to Ostion as our next S-rank slime. And because our D tier is looking a bit empty, let's jump into it with Hero. Realistically, Hero isn't that great. He has some AoE capabilities with a damage multiplier, so he's good for events like Slime Merge, and he isn't awful for the Secret Undead Room Dungeon and Slime Legion, but he is otherwise lackluster, so he falls into our D tier. And while we are here, I should fill our D tier with similar slimes to Hero, these being Penguin, Kroby, and Melissa. Realistically speaking, Penguin isn't awful since they do provide some knockback, but damage-wise they are useless, so beyond some utility in Slime Legion, they really have no use. The same can be said for Kroby and Melissa. Kroby has some AoE damage and does okay damage overall, but as an SS slime he is otherwise useless. And Melissa is a light version of Ghost, doing low damage and having less damage dealing projectiles, making Melissa one of our worst SS rank slimes. You really shouldn't be purchasing any of these slimes found in our D tier. This is until you buy higher ranking slimes that we will cover, since they don't provide the right amount of value for the money. And there are just much better alternatives out there. On the topic of those alternatives, we have Poseidon and Mecha. Both these slimes are in our C tier. They are not fantastic, but they're certainly not awful. They both have great AoE skills, with their slime skills having the same invincibility frames that we cover, having some solid Slime Legion tankiness. This is on top of providing some time extensions to stage boss battles, and Slime Merge utility that we've mentioned time and time again. And if you've skipped through this video, which I highly advise against, I'll repeat this because Gent is the only damage dealing slime you need. There's no point to purchase heroes like Melissa or Kroby. That's why utility is far more important than damage, which is reflected highly in our tier list. And because of this reason, slimes like Miner and Ignis fall behind, being in our C tier, because all they really do is deal damage, and not enough to make them viable. So they should not be your top priority in Legend of Slime, since if damage is our only concern with these slimes, there are again much better options out there. And speaking of better options, we have our latest addition, Moon Rabbit. Funny enough, they are the strongest slime behind Gent for stage boss battles, but that doesn't mean much since you only need one quote-unquote strong slime, which is again why any strictly damage dealing slimes rank so lowly, with the only exception being Moon Rabbit. Moon Rabbit is extremely powerful. This is because their entire slime skill companion damage multiplier applies to each projectile they send out, meaning no slime on this list, with the exception of Gent, is stronger than Moon Rabbit. But once we max out our new talismans and unlock the maximum skill damage bonus they provide, Moon Rabbit does contend on par with Gent essentially, so there's lots of room for potential to be had with this new slime. Now we only have 5 slimes left, and this segment is very important to free-to-play players. For stage bosses, I'd argue that Lovecat is the best slime period for free-to-play players. This is because Lovecat essentially has one of the longest invincibility periods from their slime skill, outclassing the likes of Serpine, allowing you to get off way more damage than you normally would, since with free-to-play players, the general problem is that their HP is far too low, and honestly speaking, pay-to-win players suffer from this as well, where using slimes like Moon Rabbit is potentially a detriment, since slimes that survive longer are far more beneficial, as you will be able to deal more damage during that invincibility period than you would from the burst provided from a damage-dealing slime, which again is honestly negligible, since slime skills don't deal all that damage at all. And to continue into our B tier, we have Labov and Bunny behind Lovecat. These two slimes are essentially the same as Ignis and Miner, but they have 2 slight perks. Labov has invincibility frames and Bunny has knockback. Basically, they each individually do what Swallow does, which is why they are ranked so far below him. It's honestly a toss-up between which of these two slimes is better, so don't think of Bunny and Labov as better than our other slimes. They are just your slightly above average SS rank slimes. I'd personally prefer Bunny since the knockback is useful, and you won't necessarily need the invincibility from Labov, but that is up to you. And last, we have our final free-to-play slimes, Aku and Astri. Aku is technically the strongest free-to-play slime based on raw damage, and Astri is right up there with him. So if you don't die to stage bosses, I highly recommend you use Aku as a free-to-play player. Astri does have a bit of an advantage on ranged enemies. That is because Aku's slime skill activates when enemies are close by, so again it is a toss-up between the two. But it's negligible. Astri is however great for the secret undead room dungeon because of their AoE, so that's another perk they have, for example, which lands them right behind Aku as your free-to-play slime choice. This is essentially a look at our comprehensive tier list. Again, this list won't make any sense to you unless you watch the entire video. I highly advise you listen to each slime's placement reasoning, or you'll be extremely lost if you skipped right to the end, which I'm sure those of you that did are currently experiencing. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to like and subscribe for more Legend of Slime content like this. Enjoy!